I'm going right into my prediction. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm gonna be bold and blunt. I got Kansas
Oh,
City by 10.
all right. All right. You got to
Here's
tell me
why.
why. Okay, why?
Here's why. So, Pat Mahomes has played pretty solid defenses throughout the integrity of the season, and they've always found ways to bounce back. Patrick Mahomes played probably the hottest team in the NFL in Buffalo, and Buffalo has dominated some great teams throughout the season, and they've had some great weapons as well offensively in Stephon Diggs. So, in my mindset, you have probably the most talented quarterback in football right now, in Pat Mahomes. You gave him 2 weeks off to rest, clear whatever was left of that concussion, give that turf toe some time to heal. God willing, you get Sammy Watkins. Even if he is limited, you have someone on the field to divert the attention away from those star receivers. You have Andy Reid, and I think that Andy Reid, due to Fisher being hurt, they're going to have Pat Mahomes get rid of that ball even faster than he's already been getting rid of it. I think that they're going to scheme and find pockets of holes in the zone that Tampa's going to run because you can't man up. There is no corner on that team aside from maybe Winfield Jr. that can match up with some of those receivers, maybe. And I think that I mean, like we talked about, it's going to be the secondary receivers to step up, aka Mecole Hardman, um, Sammy Watkins, and et cetera, and company to really make a big difference. And I think that Edward Solaire is going to have himself a solid game in terms of total all-purpose yards. So I mean, I think he's going to catch a good few passes out of the backfield to the check down. I think that they're going to find ways to run some sweeps and whatnot to get the run game kind of going and get some big chunk plays. But I think that the combination of the Bucs defense not being completely healthy in terms of obviously, like we stated, Winfield and Whitehead and Levante David. I think that having Pat Mahomes, the gunslinger, does give the advantage to the Chiefs, and I do think that they're going to just find a way to manipulate that Bucs defense. It has been doing a lot better. However, as I'd stated before, I think Andy is going to scheme for that pass rush, and they're going to have Pat kind of rolling around, and they're going to do a lot of rollouts and some play action plays to try to get some space. So I think Kansas City wins by 10.
Do you have a score?
I think Tom puts up points. So my thing is, I don't want to say like it's high 30s. I don't want to say shot for shot for shot because I think some defenses will make a difference. And like we said earlier in the week, it's going to come up to who creates a turnover. But if I had to put a definitive score on it, 24-34, 24-31, like that 7 to 10 point range, I would say.
I got you. Well, I mean, you were pretty confident in that pick with the Chiefs, so you just don't think that the Bucs defense is going to be able to contend with Patrick Mahomes.
I do, but it's solely relying on the pass rush. And that we already know when Pat extends plays, even against the best secondaries, it's like we've always said growing up and playing football in Pee Wee and in high school. You're nothing without your pass rush. Your corners can only cover for so long. You've seen some of the best corners in this league when a play breaks down. You can't stay with your man forever because you can't predict exactly. It's one thing to know a slant is coming or predict a post or predict a fly based off of the footwork and the hips. But like when you're rolling out and it's a scramble and the plays completely fall into shit, it's backyard football out here, baby. There's no designated place of location to go. And we know that Pat Mahomes is probably one of the best quarterbacks at extending the play, finding players open. I mean, sidearm, left hand passes. I mean, we know he can do it all. And again, I think that they're going to scheme to protect his left side a little bit more. And they're going to roll him out to the right. And they're going to make sure that it's quick slants and quick dips and quick hitches. Their offense is already a lot of that with Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce throughout the middle of the field. But like I said a couple of weeks ago, they're solely reliant on getting Tyreek and Mecole deep every now and again. That when you're checking it down, you have to Tyreek Hill and Matt automatically he demands a double team behind him. If there's no safety over the top, I guarantee you Tyreek's taking that, or Pat sees that and they're taking that. So I don't think that the Bucs hurt or healthy are going to be able to cover them because I think that the Chiefs are going to be a little bit more prepared for that pass rush than people think.
I understand. I understand.
I know you're going
Um,
opposite, so what do you got for me?
Well, the last time that I went opposite, it worked out because I picked the Bucs to beat the Packers in Lambeau Field for the NFC Championship game. And I think a lot of people, through no fault of their own, are picking the Chiefs with their head. And I think that I fully understand why, but I'm going with the Bucs, man. I think the Bucs are going to win this one. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be I think it's going to be like a 3-4 point game. I can see this game being like 34-31, 34-30, but I'm going with Tom Brady and the Buccaneers here. And here's why. So if we rewind to the matchup between the Bucs and the Bucs and the Chiefs earlier in the season, the Chiefs got off to one of the hottest starts I've ever seen in a football game ever. I mean, Tyreek Hill had 12 catches, over 200 yards receiving, and 2 touchdowns in the first quarter. And despite that, despite the fact that the Chiefs got off to such a hot start, they only won that game by 3 points. I believe they won that game 27-24.
Yeah,
And Brady
big
did
time.
not particularly have that good of a game. I believe he threw 2 interceptions in the second half. So the one thing that's going to really stand out to me with this game is which pass rush is going to get home first. Because the one thing that the Bucs have been able to do consistently throughout these playoffs is get a pass rush against the quarterback they're going up against. Whether it was against Drew Brees and Aaron Rodgers, I mean, they sacked Aaron Rodgers 5 times in that NFC Championship game. They got to Drew Brees a few times, forced some bad interceptions by Drew, and then capitalized on them with touchdowns. Now, the thing is, they may not necessarily get turnovers off of Patrick Mahomes because Patrick Mahomes very rarely throws interceptions. He's pretty good with protecting the football and not throwing it into dangerous situations. However, if they could get a solid enough pass rush against Patrick Mahomes and just make him force some throws that are either into tight coverages or he's got to throw the ball out of bounds, I think the Bucs can live with that. And I do expect them to at least get 2 or 3 sacks on Patrick Mahomes. I think
Oh, without a
JPP,
doubt.
I think Ndamukong Suh, they are definitely going to get home on some of those pass rushes. And don't be surprised if Devin White makes a big impact in this game, not only when he blitzes, but in pass coverage as well. Because more than likely, it's going to be him and Levante David, and they may even put a safety on Travis Kelce just to kind of have some support on the back end. But that matchup with Travis Kelce and whoever's defending him in the Bucs linebacker core, that's going to be a huge matchup. But I really do think that the Bucs can get solid production from those linebackers and maybe some safety help over the top with Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill. Don't get me wrong. The Chiefs have the two biggest skill position players in this game with Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. Those guys are literally at the top of their game right now. They were literally the best one-two punch combo in the league this year. But I do think that the Chiefs secondary and that linebacking core is going to slow them down. They're not going to get off. They're not going to lock them down, but I think they're going to slow them down enough to the point where they can limit the Chiefs' offense to a certain extent. But I still think the Chiefs are going to put up 30 points. I think as long as it doesn't rain. If it doesn't rain, this is going to be a scoring fest as far as I'm concerned. With Brady and the offense, the one thing that the Bucs have been really good at this postseason is protecting Brady. Brady has not been sacked too many times in any of the games that they played, whether it was the divisional round, the wild card round, or the NFC Championship game. And I do expect them to keep Brady upright throughout most of the game. Now, don't get me wrong, Chris Jones is probably going to get some solid pass rushes on him. Frank Clark as well. So they're definitely gonna get shots at Brady, but I think Brady is gonna be upright for most of the game. And the only thing with him is just don't turn the ball over. Don't turn the ball over. They got a great shot, and they can go after that Chiefs secondary, whether it's Mike Evans, AB, Scotty Miller, Rob Gronkowski, Cameron Brate. I'll tell you what, the Bucs receiving core is a lot more deep than the Chiefs is. The Chiefs are very top heavy,
100%.
and they have a better linebacking core. Now, don't get me wrong, Travis Kelce is probably the best tight end in the game, but that 1-2 punch with Robert Gronkowski and Cameron Brate is don't sleep on that. Don't sleep on those two because those two tight ends are going to be very important Rob Gronkowski may be more in a blocking role. But Cameron Brate's definitely going to get some targets. But I think this game is going to come right down to the end. And if the Bucs are down, Brady has the ball. I trust Brady here. Brady has done it time and time again. He has 6 game-winning drives in the Super Bowl. So all of his Super Bowl wins have come with a game-winning drive from him. And I think if the situation's there, the moment's there for him, I think he goes after and exposes that Chiefs secondary and that Chiefs defense. And I think they get the win here. Like I said, 34-31 or 34-30. It's going to be a one-possession game. I don't see this being a two-possession game.